All right, let's bring in my friend Adam Carolla. We want to subpoena Hillary Clinton to ask her about her relationship with Bill Clinton in the Epstein matter. Of all the cockamamie requests, why hasn't the Trump administration put out the files?
I don't know, because there's only one logical conclusion, or maybe not one, but of course every detractor is just going to say that's because he's in the file. I mean, it's basically the cop pulls you over, he says, pop the trunk, and you say, no, and he says, what's in the trunk? And you say, nothing's in the trunk, I'm not going to pop the trunk. Well, anyone listening to that story thinks there's a body in the trunk. And maybe there is nothing in the trunk, or in the trump, in this particular case, but anyone listening would go, then why not just pop the trunk?
We got to be missing something, you know. This doesn't make any sense. Everybody keeps telling me, look, you know, everybody's looked at it. If there was stuff about Clinton, if there was stuff about Trump or any big power, it would have come out because that's great fodder for an investigation. If it's true that Epstein was killed to keep him quiet, then why didn't they kill Maxwell? It's so easy to shoot down this stuff, but you keep hitting the same wall. Why won't they put anything out, Adam? They've put nothing out.
You know, maybe there's collateral stuff. I mean, anybody who's ever gone through legal process, been sued, divorced, whatever, and they go into discovery, anyone who's been in that position thinks to themselves, you go into discovery, you're not going to find anything about me that's bad about this, but there is this other thing that's sort of over here that will be discovered. I mean, maybe there's a side ancillary subject that could involve business dealings, not sex on an island or a mistress who was above 18 or something like that. Maybe there's a bunch of ancillary ideas that Trump and or whomever don't want to come to light.
But what about at least having Bondi explain what she meant when she said, I have the client list in front of me? I mean, that's pretty easy to correct.
Yeah, I agree. You know, first thing, you want to manage expectations, and you just don't want to oversell and then
too late
disappoint. You know, yeah, Evel Knievel's going to jump over 50 school buses, and then there's one donkey between the two ramps, and you get there and you go, what the hell? Yeah, overpromise, underdeliver. Yep.
Look, I don't get it. I don't mean to indicate anything about anybody because I have no basis for it. I'm just saying, if I were in their position, I would have the DOJ take boxes like they did with his taxes, where we all had to hire tax experts to tell us why all 50,000 pages didn't mean anything. Just put out whatever paper you have. All right, now, to something that's not getting the attention because of Epstein. Redistricting is everything. The reason you have a 95% retention rate for incumbents, even though they're like at a 20% approval rate, is because of districts, right? They're all locked in. Doing it mid-decade is unconventional. So California is trying to counter Texas with dueling redistricts. And it's no coincidence to me that everyone on the left is pissed about Texas and everyone on the right is pissed about California. Isn't that the problem?
Yeah, Jerry's the last name of a vice president from, like, I don't know, 1814
Elbridge Gerry.
Or something. So this stuff has been going on for a little while, obviously, in this country. You know, for me, the left does stuff, the right does stuff. The left gets their panties in a bunch and they get offended. The right gets sort of angry. Let's just assume both sides are going to do everything they can possibly do. Marcus of Queensberry is gone. There's no more rules anymore. It's all-out warfare. And with that in mind, my feeling is that's a given now because it's game on. What the Democrats need to do is start providing some policy that is more than just complaining about foul. It's like they're a basketball team who's just flopping. Their strategy is to fake fouls and to flop. And my thing is why don't you get a dry erase board, draw up some plays, and start scoring, start winning, start running plays. That's what the people bought tickets, are coming to the arena. They want to see you guys execute plays, not flop.
Because they don't have the ball. They're not on the field, or whatever metaphor you want to extend. The Democrats are out of power. Now, I do agree that there is space for better ideas about what they would do, especially heading into the midterms with regard to two major things. One, the big, beautiful bill. Adam, it is not skepticism or idle curiosity that tells us that there's a reason the administration doesn't talk about that bill all the time, or really even the economy. They'd rather fire people who do the labor statistics than deal with the labor statistics. That's the avenue of opportunity for Democrats, to talk about the economy and what this bill did and who it did it to. That's a space, even if they're not in power.
Yeah, I agree. But whatever it is, pick some bone that has some meat on it. Stop flopping, crying foul, and being a victim, and get on the offense and start laying out policy.
I'm with you. Now, here's the problem. We're heading into the midterms in a few months. You're going to have Russiagate going. You're going to have Epstein never going away. What do you think the midterms are about?
Yeah, well, I think it'll be a referendum on Trump. I mean, obviously the Democrats are going to, sling as much mud as they can and try to say he's doing a bad job. The Republicans are going to say he's doing a good job. And, it depends. Like, can they stop the Ukraine war by then? Can they get hostages back from Hamas by then? There's a couple. Can we lower the interest rates by then? It's going to be a couple of wins or a couple of losses, and I think that's the way it'll go.
Yeah, it's all rigged. I hate when people say that about our democracy, but these districts, this is a cancer that we've allowed to spread. And they're supposed to do it by panel in California. He's going around that, Newsom, to show that he can play just as much of a trickster as they can in Texas. But what they're doing is dirty. At some point, this system's got to be blown up. We got to do better than this. Adam, thank you for watching it in real time with me. Always appreciate you. Adam Carolla. Funny,
thanks,
smart, good. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.